Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to some more Let's Play Disco Elysium. In the last episode, I believe, bear with me, it's been a bit. I believe we talked to the dice maker over in the doomed commercial area. And we went with, it's not a curse, everything can be explained. However, if it is a curse, the dice maker has been saved that fate because she's not actually a part of the same building. Then Shivers told us that the curse might be actually real and might be centered in this abandoned church that we have yet to see. How about that, huh? We then sent the body along with Kim Kutsuragi out for processing. And now we are back here at the Whirling in Rags hostel. And we're going to talk to the cops that we see seated here. Before we go any further, there's a few things I want to quickly say. That is that I think the game... Oh, yep, I can already see a big difference. The game, I think, patched today. Or at least it had an update of some sort. The update added something called hardcore mode to the game, where I think all the checks are more difficult, and you might need drugs to make a lot of them more passable. I'm pretty glad I'm not playing hardcore mode. I think I find the game to be fun as it is, and it's not the type of game I'd be looking to play hardcore, as it were. But more power to you if you decide to pick up this game and or play it in that way. They also added widescreen support, and finally, I don't have to do this weird manipulation of the size of the game whenever I start recording it. I think that's about it that I can think of. Oh, and finally, Windwater. Thank you for responding. You have suggested that we take Kingdom of Conscious as an upgrade. So we'll take it, but at this moment I'm going to talk to the cops. I'm going to spend this skill point to let us take the white check when we talk to them. And I think I might want the half-light while we're talking with them, but then we'll begin working on this thought next. So the first thing we'll do is spend that point into... We know what we could do. We could just unlock another fog cabinet and say... No. I want that point in Sprint to Corpus. Alright, so let's go ahead and level this again. Next point... Actually, not so much the next point, but we will stop date of birth generator and put that into Kingdom of Conscience after we talk to the police. Let's go ahead and do that. And if we fail this check again with another snake eyes, so be it. Oh, and what happened here? Oh, I wonder if these mean I can now try it again. Maybe. Okay. That's a nice change. I like that, assuming that was an alteration they've done. I didn't see any patch notes for the day. So, but this looks like this is different as well. Alright, so we can retake this skill. Let's try it. Again! I can't believe this shit. He shakes his head looking like he really is having trouble believing this shit. You know what it is. It's like the two of you know each other. Just ask him. Tell me the truth. Do you know me from somewhere? Oh, I definitely know you from somewhere. Esprit de Corpse. Another life. From where? Another life? Yes. From another life. A different life. Maybe the life of a police officer belonging to the ranks of the... He pauses. To what station do you think you would belong in this alternate and totally fictional reality? 41st? Okay. The man sounds generally excited. That's plausible. That's entirely plausible. Now we're really getting somewhere. He gives you a long, meaningful look and adds, somewhere good. Let's talk about that hypothetical Station 41 you mentioned. Oh, the hypothetical 41. Yeah, let's fantasize about that. He blinks aggressively. Is he? He's wearing sunglasses. I'm not busy. You're not busy. So let's just play around. Who else are in our imaginary police station? You're not going to believe this, but... police officers! Yes, sir. Solving crimes, locking up bad guys, and... get this. And not getting their drink on at 2 o'clock. Just some regular boring motherfuckers in suits and uniforms. Nothing spectacularly extravagant like you, the far-out son of Lung. So, what would our relationship be in this alternate universe? Let's be crazy. Let's say you and I are partners. How's that for a thought experiment? Like, partners in crime, or... No! He exclaims excitedly. Because in this thought experiment, we are police officers in a police station. We don't do crimes. We're not crime bros. Come on, stop it, she says quietly. Do you have a crime to solve? Oh, no, no, no! You see, I enjoy watching other, better cops solve crimes. And let me tell you, it's been quite a privilege seeing you work. This isn't helping, she says, shaking her head and looking at the man with sunglasses disapprovingly. We might as well finish all the topics here. Who is this far-out son of Lung? Oh, it's you. You eccentric genius. He winks at you sarcastically. I mean, with your unorthodox approach to police work, it has to be you. Oh, want to tell me more about him? Or her? Not even a little bit. I can't imagine it anymore. Neither can I, partner. Neither can I. His gray eyes suddenly flash above the glass frames. They feel sad. Empathy. It's a mere second, but it feels like you saw something. A gram of compassion in that sadness. Okay, then. See you around. Hold on. We're not done. I just realized something. Oh. Alright, we'll take a look at that in a second. We can wear the boots! and we're gonna. We're totally putting these on. So, we're gonna lose 1 composure, but we gain 2 authority. Which is gonna make up for the negative 2 authority we have because of the t-shirt man from Hemsdal. Okay. The man with the sunglasses and his hypothetical Station 41. Weird, right? I guess it was kind of weird. Yes. There's something we're missing here. Something you can't put our finger on. You know what? Just ask him. I know it sounds crazy, and you'll probably get laughed at, but still. I was thinking the same thing. I should just ask him if we're from the same station. Yes. Just cross off the list. It's probably not true, though. I think it is true. Look, I just have to ask. Are we from the same police station? I'm going to say no. Just to see what you'll say to that. What do you say? Yeah, probably not. I don't remember you from anywhere. God fucking shit. He pinches the root of his nose. Empathy. None of this is great news for him. Inspector Corpse. Okay. I was clearly wrong. He is a firefighter, male nurse, animal control agent, something of that kind. Not a cop. Go on with your cop work. Don't let me stop you again. Got some questions for you. I'm a cop. About what? You don't look like a cop. He inspects you. You know what you look like? Like a man down on his luck? I'm trying real hard here, man. Oh. He seems to be taken aback a second. Well, go solve your case then. That would count as trying hard. The woman in the RCM patrol officer's uniform winces as she notices you. I would really prefer not to talk to you right now. Authority. As Lieutenant Kitsuragi explained, a patrol officer is the lowest rank in the RCM, below lieutenant and sergeant. Hold on. You're a patrol officer of the RCM? Yes, she nods. I am. I'm a cop too. I know. I'm on a murder investigation. Are you the cavalry? I'm definitely not the cavalry. Is everything alright? Why don't you want to talk with me? I don't know. She's still avoiding your gaze. I mean, why would I want to talk to you? It's cool to see another cop. I thought Kim and I were the only ones. No, you're not. You're not the only cop in the world. She shakes her head and breathes out. Empathy. Something changes in her. It's pity. Pity overcomes her. Okay, fine. Let's talk. What did you want? So what precinct are you from? What precinct? Spit the corpse. I am from? God, he doesn't know? Fucking deranged lunatic. The sunglasses wearer man pushes through his teeth. So I think these are from our precinct, and they're upset that we don't know where we're from, is really what this is boiling down to. Are you with him? Points to the man with the sunglasses. Of course I'm with him. She seems startled by her own tone. Why do you ask? He's an asshole. You're an asshole! He pauses. You know what? Maybe we're both assholes. Please. She looks at you, then him, then you again. Let's not turn this into another exchange, okay? Look, something is really bugging me. Are we or are we not from the same police station? God damn it, you leave her alone. The man with the sunglasses snaps at you. You keep your weird bullshit to yourself and be professional for once, for fuck's sake. Can I actually help you with something? She looks at you apologetically. Spit the corpse. Yes, of course. Preposterous. I mean, you would remember if they were, right? Who forgets their squad mates? That's not possible. Okay, goodbye. So we can't actually talk with them. They're more upset that they don't realize that I have actually forgotten my memory. They think I'm just drugged or high again, would be my guess. Alright, well, then we're done with them. I can't think of anything else to talk with them about. We're not going to pay our bill quite yet. I want to wait till it's closer to quitting time before I do so. Let's go talk with Joyce for a bit and get more of a reality lowdown, now that I don't feel guilty that Kim is hanging around with us in regards to that. I'm never taking these boots off. These boots. Oh, I might have to. I might have to if I need authority or a tiny bit of composure. But my intention will not to be to never take these off of me. They just look too amazing. And we worked really, really hard to get these. I actually need to figure out where the rest of the armor pieces are. So we should check our... After we're done talking with Joyce, we should check our journal to see where we might acquire more pieces of it. We also should still try to find our gun. We may, I guess, have to work with Evrart at this rate. Well, I guess if Kim's not here, I won't feel as bad working for the Union. Oh, that reminds me. So let's go ahead and stop this one. And time to learn Kingdom of Conscience. You're back. Good. She looks at the ripples on the water's surface. What can I help you with? Not an umbrella, I hope. I don't need one myself, you see. She pats her wet raincoat. Shivers. All around you, rain keeps falling down, on the wooden board she's standing on, and on the water around you. Neither do I. Pat her similarly wet cloak. Very rugged, she nods in approval. Good choice. Now, I suspect you had questions. Nothing like talking to pass a rainy day, am I right? I've got some more questions about reality. More questions about, in basic reality. She's positively surprised. My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything. Holy crap, look at that! Wow! And look at that! Conceptualization thing, too, we can maybe pass. Alright, let's try the Sprittic Corpse. What is... "6 kilometers southwest, in the Valley of Dogs, Junior Officer Chad Tilbrook takes aim at a rabid black dog licking its wounds in the grass. To his left, his partner, Emo Mullins, whispers, 'You heard what happened to the Keyless Sunset in Martinez?' 'Yeah, he lost his mind,' Tilbrook answers, finger on the trigger. 'Don't worry, Emo.' He pulls on it slowly now. 'He'll find it again. We always do.' 'What am I, Joyce?' 'You. You are an officer of the RCM,' she says energetically. 'The Revachol Citizens Militia.' 'Precisumundo. Good. And what is the Revachol Citizens Militia?' 'Nothing more nor less than the de facto law enforcement body of the post-revolutionary Revachol, Detective.' 'You said de facto. We already learned all this, but I guess we'll learn it again.' 'Yes, that means not de jure. The RCM acts in what is poetically called the twilight of international law, both at the behest of the coalition government and to its chargen.' 'What do you mean?' 'The RCM's responsibilities are defined by the Emergency, Wayfarer, and Ailments Acts, 3 pieces of legislation keeping the city in a, let's be honest, laissez-faire status to the benefit of foreign capital.' So, I'm basically a thrall to foreign interests. There's nothing basic about your role, Detective. It's true that the RCM keeps everything the way our seemingly permanent provisional rulers like it." She leans in. "Yet on the other hand, I know these people. I deal with them daily. Let me tell you, dear, they are not fans of you." "Why?" "The post-revolutionary decade was a disaster for the coalition government. Revachol in the 20s was hell, especially on the west side of the river. Gang warfare, a botched privatization scheme, a nuclear pile meltdown. They called it the International Zone, because no nation wanted to claim responsibility. The RCM restored peace where the coalition failed. A true blue citizens' initiative." She smiles. "They will never forgive you. So permit me to conclude this with, who you are, to me, is the police. The only legitimate law enforcement authority in Revachol." "Thank you, ma'am. And if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the basic terms of reality, well, I'm here to help." She bows and smiles. "Who are you?" "What I am not is a basic term of reality," she smiles. Suggestion. Everyone wants to talk about themselves. She will, in time. "What is this? Spread your hands." "A bird?" She tilts her head. "A spherenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions." Am I really that awkward?" "Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. I meant what is this place here?" "Ah," she spreads her arms almost as wide. "This is the pier of Rue de Saint Ghislaine 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or 2. She looks around. "What is Rue de Saint Ghislaine 33A?" "A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings called tenements, are called tenements, you see, and new buildings bâtiments, after les bâtiments nouveaux. But 33A and 33B are not nouveaux, they're old." She looks up at the crumbling facade. "This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall, a real high-rise by the standards of the last century, built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course." "Who lived in them?" "Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off." Splat, splat. Oh, did she actually say this? No, she's painting. From a dilapidated balcony, a young girl in odd clothes gives Joyce the evil eye, a red paintbrush held to her throat. Perception. You could be wrong, but from here it appears as if she's running the brush across her throat in a sawing motion. Wonderful. What times are these? These are unimportant times, Detective. She puts her finger to her lips and points at you. You and I were born after the dust had settled. A thousandth of a second too late. Too late for what? For the big time. Her eyes light up. There's a flash of teeth. What's the big time? The revolution. Ha! And what is this revolution I keep hearing about? It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next. Who gets shot in the head? Who gets the mineral rights? It's the real kerfuffle. Would you say it was a bunch of apes duking it out? Why, of course. We're talking Duke Out Central. Full swing intraspecies warfare. And the apes. Were they evil? No. I would say the apes were neutral. She looks at you, her gaze sharp. Okay, neutral. I can see Sam agreeing with that. One of these two is what he would say. Sam would actually probably say they're evil, the more I think about it. Or would he? Did he lose his faith in humanity? I don't remember. I don't think he did in the animated series I had watched. We'll go with neutral. On the other hand, she turns north to the bombed-out buildings lining the waterfront, then shivers slightly. Who got the mineral rights? The liberals got the mineral rights. She looks up to the sky, then inland at the crumbling city. And by mineral rights, I mean everything. Okay, and by liberals, you mean... Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective, or the remaining gentry. The beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution. With monarchy, big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the Ultras, or Ultra-Liberals. They fared well. How did the Liberals win it all? They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember? Rhetoric. We. She's one of them. Of course. If everyone got shot, who was there to surrender to? To foreign intervention, the coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. Wait, you just said the liberals already took everything. The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. She stomps her rubber-booted feet. The ocean, the laws, and the people. Who are they? The coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messenia, Orange, and Surliclef. The armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do. Empathy. There is bitterness in her voice, tempered with understanding. She is critical, but ultimately understands the cause. Moralist. The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, and not shooting people in the head. At least, not in the same manner and volume as others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government. Physical instrument, the rulers of Revachol, and also the world. These guys are strong. This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist. I don't think I'm a moralist, ma'am. Of course. She sizes you up. not easy to be moderate about head shooting in your line of work. Speaking of that, who got shot in the head? Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head. Empathy. She's not gloating. It's a relieved celebration. Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them as well. So, one forgets they even existed. Did the communists and anarchists shoot back? Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people. Truly a kerfuffle. Yes, the Insulidian deluge, they called it. I had a deluge too. In my head. Wait. I don't know. I'm a little worried we're not pointing to the head I think we're pointing to, so we're gonna say this instead. Anyone else get shot in the head on the opposing side? Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned, accounts differ. It was unceremonious. She shakes her head. Just as well, he wasn't actually a king, just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad. Smart king. Yes, King Gulumin had a nose for bad PR. He ran before it, what was the expression, went down? Anyway, Gil got out alive and his nephew Frizzle got shot in his place. Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time. When was that time? The turn of the century revolution? She smiles mischievously. Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in 02, on the Grad Isola, though by the end, nearly the whole world had gotten involved. So I guess this is this world's equivalent of World War II. Who started it? It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of, I can't pronounce that, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Mazov came along and overthrew the government. Oh, this was the leader of the communist party here, if I recall their history that we've seen so far. What did this Tazarath do? It made people overthrow their governments. Wow, really? Of course not. It was a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark. Where did it spread from there? From Revachol to Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Mazov's government was overthrown in 08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end. What came next? Why, you and I, officer. She spreads her arms, raincoat flapping in the wind. Our lives in the zone of control. Inland Empire. Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat and you have that necktie? Or a pair of pants? Our lives do seem very different from each other, Joyce. No doubt. But we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you think. What is the zone of control? A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting integrinum of the Coalition of Nations. And you, of course, the Citizens Militia. Esprit de Corps. The chatter of a typewriter key... The clatter of typewriter keys filled the main hall of a reappropriated silk mill, Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter. Outside, Officer Elfboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage. The zone of control is the third incarnation, Revachol, after the failure of the Suzerain and the Commune. What happened in the rest of the world during this time? Modernity. Modernity? I can't pronounce it. They developed the marvels of the inter-solary communication. Telematic milus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade. Logic. 51 minus 8 equals 43. You're saying it's been like this for 43 years? Time flies. What have we been doing all this time? The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. 08 to 19 was simply hell. And after that, the 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere. Were they? No. It was a market mirage fueled by cocaine and quantitative easing. The 40s dispelled it like a cold splash. An Isola-wide hangover, you might say. And here we are. She courtesies. Welcome to reality, baby. Empathy. From the looks of it, the 50s haven't been much better for the zone of control. You can see it in her eyes. Days slipping away. Well, but we're being honest with her. We'll bring that up that we see that reaction. You don't seem to be thrilled. I have no right to be dissatisfied, she shakes her head. This shirt is Barbara Muscova. This raincoat is impervious to rain and is guaranteed for 100 years. My daughters will wear it. No, it's just... She looks at the crumbling tenements, paint flicking from the stone. Her voice is almost wistful. We could have had so much more. Every one of us. If only we played it right. What would you have done differently? Good question. She cranes her neck. What would you have done differently? Volition. No. Her first. I asked you, who are you in all this? And I asked you, passless detective of the Citizens Militia, what insight has acute encephalopathy given to you? I would have made off with the mineral rights. Yes! You and everyone else. But that's got nothing to do with preventing the revolution. Ah, well. What was, I guess. That's enough about the times. They are what they are. Who knows? An afterbloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know? Rhetoric. Now's your chance. Ask her who she is. She won't get out this time. Seriously, I want to know what you are. Volition. She won't maneuver her way out of this one. Let's see what she says. We're not going to push her. I am the vilest of the vile, she says with a sudden flash of teeth. A traitor. A devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra. Cool. I liberate pretty hard myself. No, she shakes her head, slowly. Not like me. I am the nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp who pushed the king under a shit wagon and betrayed the revolution. Are you liberated enough to offer up your home on a plate for financial colonists? She looks you in the eye. No, I think not. Tell me, now that I've uncoiled myself, do you find me frightening? Empathy. In her green eyes, you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride. I guess she feels... So, I went down this line of questioning, again, with my very old and first version of Tequila Sunset here. And I'm still not 100% sure. I think she's mocking herself that she is an ultra... she's a libertarian. I think that's what ultra-liberal means. And she's hated for having that. And that she has followed that... the libertarian, I guess, compass into making choices. And I guess... It sounds like she has done this mostly for money. Is the way she... The impression I get that she feels guilty that's why she's done the things she's done. But I'm not sure if it's just sarcasm. Suggestion. Forgive her. Electrochemistry. But only because you like pearlescent teeth and those light green eyes. I forgive you. I do hope so, she bows. I do hope we're able to remain collegial despite it all. Tell me, when you look in the mirror, do you not see a monster staring back at you? When the dust settles, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. She turns her gaze to the Delta. This was all our last generation managed. Would you have done something differently? With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinez a monument to the efficiency of its artillery. Authority, an appropriate warning to those who'd crossed the line and pull the city into madness once more. Shivers. While a gentle wind sweeps the streets in the rebuilt east, light drizzle washes it clean. Lights go up and motor carriages circulate the tracks. In other words, life is continuing on. I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the Coalition. Not here in Martinez, and not in the Stella Maris or Delta beachheads either. If not only for my sake, then for my daughters. We had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isola down rather than let them have it. Dark orange flames reflect in her green eyes, an oil fire on the ocean. You're a patriot. Yes, I suppose I am, but I wouldn't be a patriot anywhere but here. That makes it sound like she actually agrees with the communists and became this at some point, betraying her original thoughts, I suppose. You have daughters? Yes, whatever else I am, I'm also a mother, and a wife. She closes her eyes and opens them again. Now, shall we return to reality? What is that? Point to Cindy the Skull. The girl in the old lady rags. No, I meant something basic about reality. Ah, yes. There's something very satisfying about discussing the fundamental facts of reality. Go ahead. Actually, let's... Yes. Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture. Infraculture? Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd, the music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant. Those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture, with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture. I understand everything. Make it more complicated somehow. I can't. That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital and end up reinforcing it instead. She pauses to take a long leisurely sip of tea. All right. What next? What is all of this? The scent, the sound, the air. Thank you, conceptualization. What world is this? What world? The fading pearls of her eyes look to the sea. The only one, I suppose. The world of matter and its pale antipode. Inland Empire. The camera of her mind glides over the surface of the water. What do you see? Great bodies of water, forest-covered surfaces, clusters of light where the cities lie. You've seen the montage. We all have. This world is enough, she concludes. Shivers. A frisson lifts the hair on the back of your arm. Wind sweeps the surface of the bay. The wind is sweeping the waters. The world is a suzerainty of Revachol. There was a term of endearment they coined for it. In the Dolerian century, when humanity was high on this world, discovering more and more of it, these archipelagos included. What is it? Elysium. Elysium. The world needs a term of endearment. It does. There are those who would call it hell. What is hell? A term of hatred that originates, like many such things, with the Mesk petrofascists. I don't feel like I haven't gotten the whole picture yet. Oh, you want a picture of the world? She raises her finger to her lips. There is no complete set yet, dear. They're having some trouble reaching orbit. Oh, wow! They haven't... okay, they haven't ventured into space yet. How come? Great things are difficult to achieve. For now, we're viewing the world from the inside. Sideways. How about... it's a ball? That's looking less and less lucky, Detective. You wouldn't know it from the tabloids, but the ORG nations have been launching weather balloons into the lower ionosphere since the 30s. Encyclopedia. ORG. Occident Revachol Grad. There's a steadily increasing trickle of images. Between the big three, they're piecing together a dark gray corona. A dark gray corona? That sounds like, have you ever watched 2010 Space Odyssey? How the Jupiter, I think it's Jupiter, has that one red storm. And then the monoliths converged on that, and they turned it black, and then they began to fill all of Jupiter up with themselves to collapse, I think, that planet and make it a second star. That's interesting. So is there some sort of permanent storm or something like that happening on this world? A dark gray corona? Yes. She pauses. Pale covers 72% of the surface. There are gray flares and prominences, even arcs above entire islas. The images are blurry, but if there was a sphere in there, it certainly looks like it fractured a long time ago. Half-light. A cold fear seeps into you. Oh my... The pale? And what do you mean by corona? They say there is a rarefied envelope of matter surrounding the darkened disk of our planet. That is, if we're still living on a planet. Or to speak more plainly, imagine vast swaths of land disrupted by nothingness. I'm sorry, dear. She looks around. It must sound quite terrifying, though the acute encephalopathy. Even scientific positivism isn't entirely convinced about what we're dealing with here. But this is one of the great questions of our time. Maybe when they get the complete set together, it will jolt us out of our rut, bring us together, however naive it may sound. Interesting. This world is faced with, like, the nothing from the never-ending story. Something is slowly, it sounds like, consuming it. Or at least, maybe it's either being consumed or the world's being populated. Maybe because this is a video game. This is a fourth wall. I think that's what I'm supposed to say. Type of thing, where these areas have not yet been created, so they are empty. And these video game characters are trying to come to terms with this. A fractured corona doesn't feel like it's going to bring anyone together. You have misimagined it. I don't have the power to convey to you the effect and geometry of the images that depict our world from below low orbit. It's like the crowning of the world. It's insane. Very disco. You'd love it. Well, if you say it's disco. See? Everyone finds something worth holding on to in this world, however wasted its opportunities. Shivers. The cold seeps into you. The air is heavy, with 80% humidity. Inland Empire. Suddenly you're conscious of yourself standing there on whatever this all is. Your arms hang down by your sides. What is the Pale? The Pale is not, technically speaking, part of reality. It's the opposite of reality. So this world, okay, so this world isn't quite the same as ours. Okay, great. There is something not Earth-like about this place. Okay, but what is it? A definition, okay. The Pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, Detective. The separative tissue between the isolas. It is the inter-isolary mass. Wait, and what is an isola? Isola is the Messenian word for a continent of matter, enveloped on all sides by the Pale. Oh! Also isolation or landmass. We used to believe there was only one. In the last 4 centuries, we discovered 7. Oh! This is like Androgenesis! We had the thought images, right? Of all the different shards. And in between them, there was chaos, or the void. Mundi, Seal, Samara, Ilmaria, Grad, Katla, and this. Insulende. And Insulende is an oceanic isola. It comprises mostly of water. Mundi is the largest, Katla the coldest, Insulende the bluest. What can I say? Each is perishing and dear. Okay. What is the Pale like? Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The Pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness. If we're surrounded by Pale, how do we get from Isola to Isola? Oh, it is... Her lungs deflate. Her words sound like a sigh. So difficult for us. Perception. A squall of birds. Harbor operating in the harbor. Firm, self-evident. It is possible to force dimensions on the Pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude, bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path. But it is still hard for humans to navigate the Pale without getting lost, or having our minds damaged. Wow! Oh my god! What are its physical qualities? It's difficult to describe or even measure, something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic. The further into the Pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension, right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working. No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible. Is it here? No, Detective, we're safe. She points to the sea. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north, and even more to the south, east, and west. You're in the middle of an isola. As you gaze instinctively turns north, a small black pit opens up in your stomach. 6,000 kilometers from the end of the world. Yes, that is enough. Many cities are built much closer. And there? An uproar of matter, darling, rising into the Pale, rolling, evaporating even, a great vision. The area transition between the world and the Pale is called porch collapse. Imagine a gray coronal mist, cold vapor marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism, a mold that's adapted to grow at the edge of its unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see. You mentioned that the Pale can damage the mind. Extensively. How? Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation. Others that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading. That it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter. They call it the blend over the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of physiology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past. Oh, the more people think about the past, the more the Pale grows. So the longer these people live, the less they're going to have, if that's the case. What does this over-radiation feel like? It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travelers to 6 days of Pale exposure per year. Logic. It's more for her. Way more. You're not a civilian passenger. No, nameless detective of the Citizens Militia. I am a member of the Anthroponetic Business Class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of Pale Transit annually. Empathy. Perhaps that explains her strange pining after the revolution. Some degraded early memories. Logic. Someone else you've met may have been exposed as well. The strange gray-haired woman in the lorry. Do lorry drivers pass the Pale? Yes. Carried in the hulls of airships, she nods. It's a horrific job. Automation will abolish it soon. In the Empire, that poor woman must have stories to tell like you wouldn't imagine. Are you over-radiated? Up to my gills, officer. Endurance. An acidic smile on her lips. It's getting worse every year. What is androponic? Anthroponetics, she corrects, is a scientific study of the Pale, or a recent iteration of it, by way of grad. The study of the Pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Precarnassians called it the Western Plain. Did they cross it? The Western Plain? There are signs of pre-modern crossings. Successful navigation of the Pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years. What has anthroponetics changed, then? Nothing. We remain powerless before the Pale. The only real advance in Pale transit is the speed with which the aerostatic craft can pierce it. The exposure leads to less exposure leads to less effects later. Aerostatic craft? Hybrid airships, Detective. Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near Pale to far Pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end, if we throw them precisely. And if we don't, then they don't. Visual calculus, gone. Like a skipping stone beneath the surface. You guys ever watch a movie called Ice Pirates? At the very end of that movie, this one ship enters this time corridor, or warp space, to get to Earth. And if they end up off by even a fraction of like a foot or a meter, they will miss where they're supposed to end up and be stuck in this corridor forever. During this travel, they get boarded by another ship. It's actually funny, but it was a really neat idea. I remember liking it even when I was like 12 years old and watching it. Time is working, people are aging years and minutes and stuff like that. It was incredible. And suddenly, they are out of it, and everyone's back to normal. But the craft that boarded them, well, it pulled alongside to do so. And it was lost in that corridor forever. So I'm imagining people probably will never come out of the Pale. How much Pale is there compared to the world? The Pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more Pale than there is matter, and the ratio is slipping. Another thing this could be like is Anachronox. The story of Anachronox. I highly recommend you watch the what's it called? Oh, I can't remember the name of it now. There is a term for video games when they're made into movies. But the Anachronox one is fantastic. It's like a 2.5-hour movie. It's really good. Or at least I liked it, at least. Ship slipping how? To our detriment, or... What do you think, Detective? She looks you in the eye. It's growing. There is more and more of the Pale. Precisely. One of the few measurable effects of the Pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate. An intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the Pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists. Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, entire civilizations and religions even, find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge. I suggest you do the same. Inland Empire, off we go. You see the hanged man's mouth open. Off we go, into the wild pale yonder. One and all, she closes her eyes. They say pale is death, but for the universe. Why should we just leave? Why, Inland Empire, why should we just leave, and the world get left behind? Let's return to reality, please. Yes, sweet reality, she stomps her foot. But before we do, tell me, detective, is this the first time you hear this? Do you really not remember anything? We'll be honest with her. The first person we are being honest with. I sometimes sense vague shadows of a past. And it's not good. Then tell me, what do you think of the Pale? It is terrifying. Eventually, this is probably true. What would Sam say? I think he would say 8. I think he would... But he would include himself in this. That we have... That despite this Pale's terrifyingness, the difficulties of traveling with it, and the dangers of traveling in it, that we have accomplished a great deal despite it. So, I don't know how you've all survived with it. It's a huge accomplishment. Huh. Her eyes tense. Crow's feet radiate from them. She observes you, your bloodshot eyes and swollen face. Endurance, your ailing constitution, sweaty forehead, the beads there, and your heavy breathing. You really didn't know. This does not spell good for the investigation, detective. If you don't even know this, then... She stops mid-sentence. The investigation will be my masterpiece. Actually, no, he can say this. I'll handle it. It's under control. I hope so. I truly do. If I may suggest, hold on to your colleague Kitsuragi. I ran a check on him, and he's very competent. In the meanwhile, empathy. Some of that assurance is meant for herself as much as it's meant for you. She must have a lot on the line here. You have me. I will assist you in any way I can, even if we have to do it one basic term at a time. She gives you a slight bow. Thank you, Joyce. That's all for now. Glad to have been of assistance, the little that I know. Anything else? No, that's all for now. Thank you. Wow, what an information dump that was. That changes my outlook on this world. So, with that in mind, that there is this effect happening that can't be explained, it certainly sounds magical, or not magical or mystical, but this would reinforce that there are possible other forces at work, and that there may be a curse on the Doom Commercial District. Interesting. Very interesting. Had I known this existed first, I probably would have gone with the curse is real. So that's... How can I say this? I am very glad that I did not finish the conversation with Joyce when I was originally trying to play through the game. That would have colored my... interactions with what we've done so far together. Wow. We've also earned 2 experience points. And we can recheck the Horseback Monument and Sumerian Butter. Wow, and that took almost all of the hour something. I think we can keep playing for a little longer, despite how much we've been talking. Let's go and talk with Cindy the Skull for a little bit. If she has anything else to talk about. Oh, we can talk with the cleaning lady too, I suppose. Give me a moment. The cleaning lady still seems to be having difficulty breathing. Who are you? I'm no one, just an old woman who cleans these hallways. Do you live here? If you can call it a living. She spits on the floor before wiping it off with a broom. I have a little room upstairs, right next to the coal room. It's barely bigger than the closet, but I don't complain, no. She juts out her chin, eyes shining. I have my bed, and my aching bones to keep me company, and that's all I need from this world. Shivers. And all she gets, too. The coastal wind beats down hard on the coal room door outside. Splashes of waves make the balconies slippery. Thanks, I'm off. Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? Perception. Smell. That smell coming from her paint bucket. It's not paint. It's heavy fuel oil. So you won't talk about the murder, but maybe you can tell me something about the murder victim's missing armor. What do I care about some fucking tin eggshells? Isn't armor art? Art for the, body? Ugh. Alright, sad piggy, I'll give you this one. I saw a little girl in the fishing village running around with military-grade handwear. Looked cute as hell. If you haven't been there, the village is a shithole down the coast from the main plaza. She waves her hand in general westward direction. Have a good time. Got it. Piggy, I have no idea why I just told you that. She looks at you, a little sad suddenly. You look like a shaggy dog left in the rain for too long. I have a weakness for animals. Is that bed in the coal room yours? Oh, not only have you found my address, you've also discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner. Perception. She does have eyes that seem to be smeared with coal. It's not the nicest place, but I guess it'll have to do. It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. She looks at the paint dripping down the wall. Like me right now. I'm doing nothing at all. Don't you have a real home? Does anyone in a city like this? She replies wistfully, looking around. Empathy. If there's pain about any particular home she's lost, she's buried it deep, fortified herself against it. Really? I don't think you're a miner. Yes, I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me, but somehow it never happens. Cool. Other questions. Shoot, piggy. It's what you do, isn't it? Is that heavy fuel oil? What do you think I was using? Aqualess? This shit is pumped out of government vehicles. Empathy. She did it herself. Pumped it out. She's proud of it, too. That's some pretty clever cultural commentary. You ain't seen nothing yet, pigaboo. Catch you later, Cindy. I like this to be finished. We need 3 more minutes. Let's see what's up here. Nothing's up here. Alright, let's go back inside then. It's been a while. Maybe our perception's a little higher. We can see something else that's in here. 100 tiny feet scurrying beneath the grate. The rats of the city. Wonder if you could sleep here. I guess you could curl up on the floor. There must be other things, like, the game offers you multiple, at least I think it offers you multiple ways to solve a problem. depending upon what that problem is. I'm imagining finding a way to pay for your room that first night. There must be multiple ways to do that. And or maybe not even getting that room. Okay, we're going to keep playing for just a tiny bit more, everyone. I would like to unlock that thought and see what we gain. I don't really want to check the doors at the moment. I don't want to start a really super long conversation. Oh, we could go back and check the other white checks. So why don't we do that? So, where is this? Yes. Where is this? Some tasks. Map. Sumerian butter. I've got no clue. It's not on the map. Why is this not on the map? It's just not on the map. Oh, you know what it is? We might need Kim, I guess, for this. Alright, let's go to the Horseback Monument and see if we can interact with it again. We probably can't without Kim there. That's without Kim here. Oh, and we're up to 50 bucks. 50 bucks. 10 more of those indirect modes of taxation, and we'll be able to afford another evening night. This coin-operated viewer is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25 centimans and pull the handle while looking inside. Then use the focus knob to zoom in if necessary. Why place a tourist attraction in the middle of such poverty? Let's insert a coin. Your money disappears to the coin slot. A clunk, the ring of metal. Pull the handle and look inside. The curtains on the display open. You lean in to catch the view. It's blurry. Different blues and greens. In the middle of the shimmer stands a drab gray shape. Like a ghost. Turn the knob to focus your vision. The lenses shift. The ghost sharpens into an inlet in the bay. In the ruins, a man-made structure is visible. A half-sunken sea fort, its concrete almost reconquered by nature. It looks as if it was abandoned quite some time ago. Nothing but a rotten tooth remains of the anti-aircraft tower. A lonely birch tree grows out of it. Empathy. Its leaves ripped from it by the winter wind. Uh-oh. Do we have a bug? We do, don't we? Oh, come on! Okay. Oh, and this finished but didn't. So I have a real... Oh... So a patch and new bugs. Okay. Alright, everyone. I guess we'll stop here. When I come back, we will be ready for more Disco Elysium. And hopefully, the game will let me progress past what is this part. If not, I'll be back to report that our Disco Elysium cannot be beaten. And anyway, I'm going to stop here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care, everyone.